want to just acknowledge again that we have a wonderful keynote speaker, Mrs. Kosi Colin. And it's important for me to acknowledge that she and her husband, Sean, who have moved into the community, have made a tremendous difference for the Uinta Basin. So thanks for being here. Kosi is an enthusiastic, passionate, and proud South African native. She was born and raised in a small town called Port St. John's, South Africa. She is married to Sean, and they have a daughter together, Mackenzie Pope Colin. Kosi loves life more than the average person, and believes that life is meant to be lived, enjoyed, and tasted. Hence her love for cooking. Kosi is a CTE teacher at Vernal Middle School. She received her Bachelor's of Technology degree in Public Relations and Management, majoring in Communication and Public Relations at Walter Sisulu University, South Africa. Her postgraduate certificate in education is from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. She has also completed advanced digital certification studies at Arizona State University. Kosi has contributed to her community in South Africa by giving back to disadvantaged children affected by the HIV/AIDS virus and crisis. Kosi is the co-founder of a nonprofit project called Transiki Life, operating as an after-school program in South Africa, which helps children with their education to provide resources to elevate their quality of education and life. She also has volunteered with similar projects in India, Thailand, and Laos. Kosi has a keen interest in the different ways that people understand, interpret, and communicate around the world. With her extensive travel, Kosi has enjoyed experiencing how diverse our world can be. She celebrates diversity and has loved learning different cultures, traditions, and what ignites a fire in people's hearts. She's considered herself to be a lifelong learner and enjoys discovering what motivates and inspires others. Please welcome Kosi to the stand.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Kosi. I'm a teacher, so my students have to reply when I say good afternoon. I am so excited, and this is an incredible honor to be standing in front of all of you today. I want to start by saying congratulations to all of you guys. Let's give every graduate a round of applause. Thank you to Utah State University for having me. I could tell you all the different ways that I woke up this morning super nervous and all the different things that I did, but I won't, because that would be super gross. So I want to share it with you. I've seen a few of my colleagues here this afternoon, and I'm looking at them. They know me very well at school, so they're probably going, "No, Kosi, don't say a word." I won't, guys. I'm just super excited to be here and to share my story. As I was driving in with my husband, I saw a little banner just at the entrance that said, "Share your story." And I thought, man, how do they know? Because that's what I'm about to do. So I am standing in front of you this afternoon as a 30-year-old Black South African woman. I'm giving a commencement speech at a university in the United States of America. I am a mother to Mackenzie Hope, and I am a wife to Sean Colin. I have, like James said, opened up a non-profit organization in South Africa helping children living in poverty. And I have owned a business before, and I have a house. But that's not how it started. Let me tell you how it started. It started with a skinny little 5-year-old living with 4 siblings in a tiny mud house in South Africa with a mother who is as strong as an ox. And that is why I'm here today. By the way, Mother's Day is coming up, so let's give it up for the mothers that are in the house. When I dreamed of the life that I have today, as a 5-year-old, it seemed impossible. My childhood was both interesting and a challenge. I consider myself the black sheep of the family. I don't know if you guys know that term, but we use it a lot in South Africa. I didn't think like other children. I was quite different to my siblings. My friends started calling me a coconut. You know, coconut, one on the inside, black on the outside. It's true. All because I wanted to learn how to speak English. I knew that somehow English was linked to the future I had dreamed about. At 10 years old, I started making sense of the language. It wasn't until I was like 12 years old where I could start having conversations in English. The fact that I'm able to speak with you today in English is a success to me. Because success is different with life. You know, growing up in a poor area in South Africa, we had mission teams arrive quite often in our township. If you don't know what a township is, in South Africa, it is an area of predominantly black occupants. The mission team gave our families so many toys that we became very popular to our community. We had them for a little while until one day we came home to find that my mother decided that the students at the local preschool needed the toys more than we did. The woman took our toys. We were like, what? Mom, what's going on? She's like, the students need the toys more than we did. We were like, what? We need the toys. I mean, every child needs a toy. I mean, we spoke softly though, because you always speak softly with my mother. Otherwise, that's the only time you will ever speak. In case of an emergency, listen to your mother. My mom is a school teacher. She has taught for as long as I can remember. She taught all of my cousins and my older sisters, and of course me. She was actually my principal when I was in kindergarten. And it was a glorious time for me as a child because I had my mother right at my fingertips. I loved it. I did not call her a teacher, I called her mama. During school lunch, I would pick which food I wanted to eat, and I didn't eat what I didn't like, which was not allowed. I mean, I really thought I'd gone away with it until one day she called me into her office and she handed me a white envelope. And I said, what am I supposed to do with this? She said, give it to your parents. What? That's what I did. I burst out laughing because I said, well, that's funny considering that you're my parents. She said, give it to your dad. I said, Dad cannot read English. So that's not going to work. And she said to me, figure it out. I was 6 years old and my mother basically expelled me from school. That's what the letter was about. You know, I thought she was joking there for a while. I went home early that day, remember? My mother's a school principal. And I did not give the envelope to my dad. In the morning, I just figured I would just sleep in, since she kicked me out of school. She woke me up with a calm voice in her own unique accent, and she said, yeah, Kos, when are you going to wake up and go look for a new school? I was like, oh my goodness, this woman, is she kidding me? She then informed my dad that I had been expelled from school and he needed to get up and help me find a new school. Remember, I'm 6 years old. My dad, on the other hand, was like, what? When did this all happen? I'm confused. My mom said, by the time I come back from school, you both need to have found a new school. And she left. So how did that teach me to listen to her? I now know that life is hard. I have to work for everything, and I am not always going to get my way, and that's the way of life. My dad and I found a school that day, and I started immediately. I finished that same year, as tough of a year as it was. Because I did not want to get expelled again, I made sure that my behavior was on point. I attended 2 graduation ceremonies since I went to 2 different schools. I remember that day feeling anxious because my friends were all in a different graduation ceremony. But then I started experiencing a deep sense of pride. I was proud that I did not give up. I mean, after being expelled by my own mother. I realized that maybe it did not really matter how I had started, but it was more important how I finished. In the township, school was such an important aspect of our lives. You were never too sick or woke up too late and so you didn't go to school. That did not exist in my culture. My mother sent us to school barefoot and sometimes with no food in our tummies. Our kitchen building at home was made out of mud, and I would hang my school uniform on the kitchen chair. Heavy rains were tough on my little family. I would wake up in the morning, go to the kitchen, and my school uniform would be floating in the water. Everything was wet. My shoes had holes on the bottom, so I felt no need to wear them during school rain because my feet would get wet anyway. So I would just walk barefoot an hour to school. Because my mother sent me to school barefoot in the rain and did not make excuses, I did not complain. I was able to go to high school. That was a huge achievement. For many Africans, high school is a privilege. So I was fortunate to be able to go to high school. High school was a different ball game altogether. During my high school years, I was diagnosed with tuberculosis, TB. I was very sick. I was not able to have a normal school schedule of learning, and for a few months there, I missed the due dates of my last senior exams, and I needed to go to the clinic often. Kids made fun of me and did not want to sit next to me in class. I mean, I was contagious. I was on heavy medication, so I lost weight and couldn't keep anything down. Now you may be wondering why I went to school. I wanted to learn. It was simple. I had a thirsty mind. I did not want to miss any opportunity to learn, so I went to school. With all the chaos, I remember all I thought about was I needed to go to college. I knew I had to. Options were limited. Without a degree, those options were not going to offer me my dreams. I applied for college with the help of my youth leader, my English teacher, and I was accepted. I then applied for a loan that I knew I could never pay back. I mean, I couldn't even get the full loan because my mother did not have enough income to prove that I could pay it back. My years at college were focused on obtaining my degree. I had no room for error, and literally no room of my own, so I squatted. Slept on a hard cement floor with nothing but a blanket for a whole year. My monthly budget for food was 150 rand. Do you know how much that is in dollars? $10 a month for food. I had to decide whether I was going to eat lunch or dinner. Breakfast was not even an option. So for the most part of it, I mean, I was pretty hungry. I stayed up late studying, training myself, improving my English, training myself in music, training myself to persevere, to hang in there. Because I kept telling myself to just hang tight. I knew I would look back and realize that it was not going to be about how I started, but it was going to be about how I finished. Almost 4 years ago now, I moved to America. My husband, Sean, and Mackenzie, my daughter Mackenzie Hope, and I lived in friends' basements for a whole year. We moved every 3 weeks to every 2 months and stayed in one for about 6 months. It was a difficult time. If you ever needed a place to stay, you know that feeling. I felt a deep pressure to conform to the ways of the people I lived with. Not that they asked me, they were very kind people. I just wanted them to like me. I wanted them to like us, my family. I used to think that I needed to change the way I spoke, my jokes, and maybe even the way I dressed. I would spend time learning about different people and where they come from, what problems they had that day. I thought I wanted to be like them. I quickly realized that was not something I wanted to teach Mackenzie Hope. You see, I was a mother, and as a mother, you start thinking differently. What's important to you looks a little bit different. I knew I wanted to teach my Mackenzie Hope that being different is a good thing. Being different is an amazing thing. So if you are different out there, that is a good thing. Keeping it real has never been easy. I get scrutinized all the time. But the best thing about keeping it real is that I have allowed myself to have the freedom to say how I feel. that amazing freedom of expression without regret. I mean, my mouth gets me into trouble a little bit sometimes, but I remain me the entire time. You know, keeping it real is being kind to yourself, and I hope you guys remember that, to stay true to who you are. Because the world's always going to have something to say for me. But you know, if you keep it real, it makes you accept other people wholeheartedly. The point is, keep it real so that you can be whoever you want to be in the world. But that also means you will have to accept people no matter who they are, where they come from, what they've done, and meet them exactly where they're at. Because even for them, it's not how they started, it's how they finished. And by now, you're probably thinking, how does this pertain to you? Let me tell you how. If you have not been listening this entire time, this is your chance. And I know this is going to sound monotonous, but please listen to this. I'm not standing in front of you today trying to brag about what I've become. I am standing in front of you today, in front of all of you today, sharing my story of how I started, where I come from, the kind of struggles I have had to endure. If you can relate to those struggles, maybe you can understand that those struggles do not define you. They are not going to write your ending. They are going to make up your story. Maybe your struggles are a little bit different to mine, but they are still struggles. Maybe you finished college with an addiction problem or a marriage problem. Maybe your loved one passed away while you were still in college. Maybe you have a child that got pregnant at 15 and that messed up your school life. Maybe you struggle with identity, who you are or who you want to be. Maybe you struggle with your faith, or maybe you struggle with your business or your job. Maybe you're lonely. You struggle to make friends. Maybe like me, you don't have family in town. I want you to hear this. Don't lose hope. Stay positive and keep your eye on the prize. That's the future. Remember, it is not about how you started. It is about how you are going to finish. Thank you.
Thank you, Kosi, for your inspiring and enlightening remarks. We now turn to the part